while you were talking.
Should have.
Uh, yes, sir. How's it going, everybody? We're live. We're back. I should have thrown my shirt.
Wow. The stretching, Stuart, the stretching. And my giantly high collar. It's so... Look how tall that is. It's so comfortable as well. These are one of the high-end replicas. It's so nice.
Yeah, it looks good too.
Yeah, you can wear this for hours. Hi, Stuart!
Hi, Sam.
I would say how's your weekend, but you weren't feeling great, so I'm sorry to hear that and hope you feel better soon.
Got my ass kicked by a cold and sore throat. Now Sylvia's got it, but I'm on the mend, so...
Yeah, I had that right at the end of Picard, so I've kind of... But I think the we must keep doing Picard kind of got me through it at a quicker rate.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's okay. And of course, guys, I'm going to plug it straight away because I'm impressed. Go buy Star Trek Resurgence, the video game. It's the first goddamn Star Trek video game like this in a very, very, very long time. To the point
should do a live about it, actually.
We should. I need to play more of it, though, because, you know...
I've played it I've probably done about 10 hours of it.
About 3.5.
Yeah, it's long, but it's so good. You get to do so many cool things.
Yeah, seriously, I recommend everybody buy it, because even if it's not the best game, which would be impressive if it was, what I played, it's still a good game, and it's only the start, but you want to encourage them to make more, because once they've got the engine, the assets, the way of doing it, it's cheaper to make more games. And they could swap to be a Voyager game or a TNG game. Like this, they're primed to make more.
Yeah.
Don't be a bridge crew, right? 3 bridges and out. Go buy the game right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to do a live talking about it because there's a lot to talk about for that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I just read the prequel comics today.
Yes.
I found out what happened to the Resolute.
Yes.
Oh, got majorly messed up.
Yeah.
Even there's saucer separation. So, yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Yeah. No. And one thing I love straight from the initial part is that the game takes its time, which is you got to be in the right frame of mind for that. But if you're a Star Trek person, that's what you really want. And when you see the starbase for the first time, there's a fleet of cannon ships, and they don't fudge around making new ones that are okay. And I know what good 3D models look like, and they are darn good. Like they put the work in to make them good, if not like the highest detail. But like the Excelsior texturing is great for what they're doing. Right, good job them. Like at the very least, that was the attention to detail that you needed.
That's our plug for Star Trek Resurgence.
Well, it's today, so go play it.
Yeah, we need to do a live talking about it because there's a lot to talk about. It's really good. It's really good. So
I'm going to start sharing so you can discuss everything else.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm going to play the Fleet video as well, which I need to find the latest one. Where did I put that? Probably put that in this folder. Probably.
Always updated. So guys,
here's the Fleet video. Join the Fleet.
Awesome, thank you. 36 of you here, 13 likes, guys. Hit that like button. Please enjoy the Fleet video while I talk. It is an amazing video. We got a lot of cool ships and a lot of great members of the crews. You guys are awesome. And thank you. If you want to join, just hit that join button down there or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. That is another way you can become part of the fleet, have your name there. If you become a captain, you get a ship automatically. If you become an admiral, you get a hero ship automatically. And you get to have your name in lights, as it were, at the end of each of our videos. So definitely worth checking out. And with Strange New Worlds coming up, we might have some new ships joining the fleet. We'll see. We also have a lot of cool stuff going over on the Discord. We have fleet events and things like that, which we'll get into more of the longer we do this.
Stuart, did you see my fleet event video?
I did not. No, I did not yet.
Well, that was a bad tease then, wasn't it? Because you can't tease it.
Yeah, it's apparently good though. So anyway, yeah, lots of ways to help us with the channel. Hitting that like button is important, so do that with all 41 of you that are here. Also, super chat. We want to hear your thoughts on this particular topic. It's a discussion. We want your input, so please let us know. Super chat in. We do read them all, and any support you guys can offer in that regard is definitely a big help. So please do so if you're able to. Also, click the links down below. There are links to Teespring and TeePublic. We got some cool Trekyards merch, and we'd like to see you guys in it. So check it out and every little bit you guys do supports the channel. So help us in any way you can.
And yes, it's still going because there's so many of you that support the channel. We're lingering on the fun.
Ooh, I just to the centaur right there.
We did so much work on this, guys, as you guys know, that there are still ships, as you said, that have not been seen, that we're like itching to get out in the Armada. But it's not up to us, is it? It's up to you guys, the amazing fans of Trekyards, etc. We are the pack lids, and you make us go.
Yes. I will be hitting my mute button quite often because I'm still coughing quite a bit. So just so you guys know. But yeah. I really messed everybody up with the poll today.
Oh, what is the poll?
If you could only watch one for the rest of your life, what would you pick? Star Trek, Stargate, Star Wars, or Battlestar Galactica? And somebody earlier said this is a Star Trek channel. What kind of stupid question is that? It's like, well, we talk about a lot more than... We appreciate all sci-fi. And we have our Trekyards universe, Trekyards universe, formerly known as Trekyards, where we look at all sci-fi. So it's just, they're fun discussions. That's what kind of question it is.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
Fun is the word.
Just don't put our stake in one of them and say we hate everybody else. No, we're very inclusive here, so.
Hey, Patrick, yes. Yeah, it's, we are both not of the ilk that would say Star Wars or Star Trek. I hate the fucking Warsians.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a sci-fi franchise I don't like. Not necessarily in the love, but is there anything that I don't like, sci-fi shows wise? You just dislike?
Or you just don't get into. There's different levels.
Yeah,
sci-fi. All the attempts at it. Some of them are better than others, but yeah. Nothing's coming to my mind.
No, exactly. That's good. That's a good sign. Yeah, so Stuart, Stargate versus Star Trek. Give us your brief with your history with Stargate, because mine is a bit more elaborate than yours. So give us your Stargate story.
It's one of those things like DS9. When I would always catch the same episodes. I would never watch them all back to back. Didn't really get into it. I enjoyed it when I watched it. Like I loved
those 6 episodes.
I love all of the cast. But Sylvia was really, really into it. Same with DS9. She was the one that made me watch all of DS9 because I always saw the same stupid episodes and wasn't really a fan. Now it's like my favorite. Same with SG1. We sat down and we watched it beginning to end, and then Stargate Atlantis. I still haven't watched Universe yet, but I think Stargate, because it's grounded in reality. So you can imagine that kind of stuff is going on currently, and I like the way it's all handled, and it feels like a really good cohesive sci-fi universe that could literally be just down the street. You don't even know. So but yeah, I think it's fantastic. I love that it had spin-off shows like Star Trek. You got Atlantis, you got Universe, you got the movies, because there are different ones. And yeah, I think it's just fantastic. I need to rewatch it though, because I've only watched the entire series once. I need to go back and watch it at least twice. But like I said, some episodes I've seen multiple times. So, it's one of those situations. Just have to find the time to do it. Because right now I'm watching The Walking Dead.
God. Yeah.
I'm watching a whole bunch of other stuff. Supernatural right now as well. So, yeah.
But do you want to read Classic for Reals comment?
Thanks for the heads up and reminder.
Nope, one back.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
That was the follow-up to the previous one I told you to read.
I've been an admiral for 2 months, and literally just now someone had to remind me that there's a Discord. Yes, go join.
It's actually pretty darn active as well.
We got there's a whole channel for live show memes. Whenever I do my late night lives, a lot of the stuff gets turned into memes. There's fun stuff over there, so go check it out.
Oh no.
Yeah. But
So,
anyway, how about you?
Well,
What is your
briefly,
history with Stargate?
but briefly, which were the episodes that you had seen like 5,000 times? Which were the ones that you'll always never forget?
Oh my goodness. As I drop.
Any examples, right? Doesn't need to give them all, just anything.
I don't even know. Oh, it's Wormhole Extreme or whatever the hell that was.
Called Wormhole Extreme. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that one a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just drawing a blank right now.
Jesus.
As we talk, I'll probably come up with a couple more, but yeah.
So my history of Stargate goes back and guys, put in your history of Stargate. What's your backstory? So mine started quite distinctly. We were very much a Star Trek household when I was young. There wasn't really too much else because obviously VHSs. So unless Dad bought the VHSs, we didn't have like a cable network for a long time. And so I know I watched slides. I've seen some sliders on Real TV, a little bit of Farscape on Real TV, but before VHS DVD, so you couldn't just watch things. And I remember we went to one of our family friends' houses, this lovely Russian couple that my dad helped get into the country, he's an immigration lawyer. And I remember this, which is pretty young for me. I must have been 7 or 8, and I'm glad I've kept this because it got muddled in my mind for something else, but I'm always reminded, and that's that time. I remember watching a scene where, and I remember exactly when, I looked at the screen, and Jack gets flung out of the SG-1 wormhole and meets the Ancients the first time. He looks like trash. They save him. He goes back and he's okay. And it was quite a striking visual. It was ET-esque, or was it Roswell-esque, but it was well written. The acting was good. The CG was nice. It's a really good scene. And I remember that. And that was before I'd seen Stargate. So that was just like, oh, this is cool. And Dad, I remember, sat down and we watched a bit because he'd heard of it, but he hadn't watched it. And then we didn't watch it for a little bit because I guess we couldn't, because obviously how could we have? But I remember then we then got like Sky TV, and on that was Sky One, and Sky One did I believe a watch through from season 1, and finally we were able to watch it all the way through, and we made that. And then we got hooked so quickly on the show, and I was in my early teens, and that became the new, because there was obviously no Star Trek, not even a hope. And there was the end of Voyager, Star of Enterprise. So there was, but Enterprise wasn't really very memorable. So like Stargate is much better than Enterprise.
Yeah.
So quality wise, you compare them quite like okay. But so we watched that. I think we kicked in around season 4, and or 3 or 4 after we work it out a little bit. But then we started watching. We watched them all live. We finally lost Sky One in season 10 for the last 3 episodes. So I had to go to a friend's house and watch my shitty little TV for the first time. So that's why I saw the end of my favorite franchise. And very, when we got Atlantis kicking in, I was actively against Atlantis. I was like, get off more yard, you spin off your. Yeah. And I watched the first episode and I was like, holy fuck, this is amazing! Holy shit! Oh my god! And I mean the love level, just because it's more sci-fi, right? They're on an ancient city. Everything's tech, and the pearl jumpers and all the stuff. And then I insisted carefully to get my own first costume, my Atlantis costume, which is over in that bag in that room, and that started my 10 years of costuming. Because of course I managed to convince him to get me a custom made jacket and a shitty P90, then a better P90, and a shitty Beretta, then a better Beretta, and then it sort of increments up into a very, very faithful costume, and then you must you want to get an SGU costume, and that came out, the SG1 costume when Dad buys extra, and it's built up to the point of now I have everything in a sense. And then the conventions every single year in the UK there was a guy that ran 2 dedicated Stargate conventions a year. 2 started as 1, became 2, and he always told us like over half of them either broke even or made a loss. But he wanted to meet the actors. He wanted to have a fun time of, he was a multi-millionaire. He could afford to make a bit of a loss. But the experience was worth it, and to meet the actors and such. And so I've met, over those 10 years, 15 conventions, I've met the entire SG-1 cast, the entire Atlantis cast. The SGU cast didn't really do conventions. It was right at the end of that. And most of the secondaries. So I've met pretty much everyone, and around the same time the show was. So they look like themselves. And that's why I grew up, from being a teenager to an 18, 20-year-old. And then I cried when Stargate finished. I remember I saw it live, and I put it off for a couple of days to watch it, and I cried because it was the end of 17 seasons, of constant television. And it's like there was no chance of it back because it was cancelled. It was sort of aggressively cancelled in a sense. It was like, this is not a spin-off, and the other 2 movies got cancelled. They had a SG Atlantis movie in pre-production. It's called Extinction. You can see part of the script online, and it got cancelled because DVD sales, we can get into that later. And then the second SG-1 movie gone cancelled, which was going to be sort of a crossover movie.
Mm.
So there were things. And if the show had been stopped, say 3 years earlier, the DVD market would have been big enough to warrant those movies. No problem.
Yeah.
But it's right at the time that it lost them. And that's around the time we lost Enterprise, BSG, and Universe. So we went from this apex of 3 sci-fis every single week to 0. Wow. What a thing. So that's my history of Stargate ship.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very impressive and emotional.
It is. No, it is. It was a big part of my middle of my life. Trek was always great, but that was ostensibly what I grew up with.
Yeah. Well, Olivia Julius throws in $2. Thank you, Olivia. It says it's Samuel, the best Trekyards host. I see how it is. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of history and especially Egyptology, and so I was never really I wasn't impressed by the Stargate movie. It was kind of like all right, but it didn't really do anything for me. So when I heard the series was coming, I was like, I don't really give a shit because it's gonna. I think I would have the same feelings as I would with the movie, right? And so I never really watched it. I never really got into it. But now having seen it, I love that it ties in with the Egyptology and like the ancient astronaut theory and all that stuff. I think that's really quite cool. And I love the influences, like the Egyptian influences and things like that in the show, or that humans took, I guess, from them, because they're using humans as slaves. But yeah, I mean, and the cast, you can't get better than that cast. I mean, they are pretty fantastic. Like Michael Shanks, he's one of my favorites for sure. Amanda Tapping, I wasn't really a fan of. She kind of grew on me a little bit, but yeah. Chris Judge, he's so different. He's so different off screen, like than his character. It's hilarious.
Because Nimoy is far more like Spock. Judge is not like Tilk.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
No.
But yeah, that's kind of just a additional thing that I really enjoyed. The whole tying to actual history, and the Egyptology stuff. I think was great. So,
and I had seen the movie before the show. I do remember that, and I because it's sort of violent. Like, they don't pull punches, not actually like bloody violent, but it's not exactly a kid-friendly film. Like the bit where they're stalked in the temple at the start with a horse god, that's actually quite scary. Like it's filmed really effectively, and then at the end, they nuke a guy. Like there's a nuke, right? It's quite big themes for like a 10-year-old. But I think the movie's a very solid movie. It's a good action romp. It's got hella historical stuff. The set design, the art design is so on point. It's faithful yet sci-fi. The Death Glider is classic. Stealth weapons are iconic. The effect of the mask going in, still great.
Oh,
doesn't make any sense, obviously, but I mean, that's not the point. It's sci-fi, right? And considering both the lead actors went on to do other big things, they had a lot of potential. I do think the TV cast are better, but obviously they had like 10,000 more hours worth to play with. And obviously, what is Jack O'Neill in the movie? He's a suicidal hard ass that is a good guy that's also... Like, there's not... The depth there is in this range. Jack in the show starts this, becomes...
That's because he has 2 L's.
2 L's. Although I think Jack is pretty... I think Daniel was good in the movie, and then Michael Shanks took that and ran with it. That was more of an organic... Because they hired specifically kind of vibe with Jack.
Yeah, he kind of emulated the James Spader quite a bit. Like even his appearance with the hair and stuff.
It's very close in season 1.
And for the first season, you can really see it. But then he comes into his own as just Michael Shanks, and it's a different character altogether, honestly. But I love the transition, and I love how they even kind of it's a soft reboot almost, and they tie into the movie kind of a little bit. They repeat elements from the movie in the first episode, but yet reference the movie as well. It's kind of a weird thing.
It doesn't need you to have seen the movie, because everything in the movie is really the first sort of 20 minutes of the pilot. Because once we get past it, we get past it, and then it builds. But if you've seen the movie, obviously it feels like you're walking from one to the other. I mean, it's amazing how faithful they were. They rebuilt Abydos, rebuilt the Gate Room. I mean, And thank God the movie had such good art design, because that gate room, same thing for 10 years plus the movie, right? Incredible. And yeah, obviously they did change some things in the movie. Ra isn't a snake in a spine. It's quite a giant difference. If anything, he's actually represented in this one scene as being a Roswell-like alien inside of the other guy, and that you can see it. And they built a maquette of that alien, and I've seen it once, and it's very similar to an Asgard, which is why it never was canon. But there's a book, an official book that was written where they said that Ra was so powerful because he was actually an Asgard, partially, etc., which would link to that movie. But certainly going into the more, we can infect you. I mean, they are different themes, but it comes from the same place, I guess.
That's the other funny thing. After I saw the movie, because it was so leaning on the Egyptology aspect of things, well, this is really cool. This is something I think I can get into.
Yeah.
Saw the movie, wasn't super impressed. Went out and bought the novel. Never read it. And I also bought 2 of the sequel novels. One was called Retribution.
Yes.
And there was another one as well. So those have been on my shelf for a while. And again, I've never read them. I always wanted to get around to it because I think I would really enjoy them. And then the series came out, and I was like, all right, well, I'll eventually watch it, maybe. I love how you got me to actually watch it. Which episode did you send me? The one where they repeat themselves?
Well, we interviewed the guy, yeah. It's not cause and effect, but it's window opportunity.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's like a 9.9. If that, that's like Measure of a Man is to ethical drama. Window opportunity is to time loop. It's like it's the gold platinum standard, right?
Yeah. It's pretty great. Olivia throws another $5. Happy birthday to Captain Janeway on the 20th. She is now minus 313 years old.
You mean 213? No, you're right, 300. Yeah, 24. Yeah. Damn, she's looking good for minus 313. Guys, yeah, super chat, your thoughts. We're 10 minutes in.
Yes.
Put your thoughts.
I want to hear your thoughts, your history with Stargate, things you love about it. It's not really a Star Trek versus Stargate. We just kind of want to talk about.
Well, that's the latter half. What does what do better, right?
Yeah.
Because of course there is 3 brands of Stargate. There's SG-1, which is it's really in sort of 2 halves. There's the first 5 seasons, which are very much the of the week exploration, building antagonists. It's very organic. They get bigger, stronger, bigger. Then it kind of becomes a case of we have a power in the galaxy. We have our own ships. We have, we can go in and kick some guy's ass versus we're now with these little ants going in the universe. And once we have that power, we find Atlantis, we build upon that power in the SG-1 realm. We get our new cast, we fight the gods, the second set of gods, with a full fleet, right? So there's 2 chunks of SG-1. You get Atlantis, which is a pretty hardcore sci-fi. 5 years of varying tones, still fun, silly, a lot of good sci-fi, a lot of incredible space effects. Like they push that bar really high with that. Great art design, some really fun side characters. Stargate does it very well. And Universe, which is the BSG of the group, it's extremely deep characters in a very well told story, but not the way you're expecting. And Stargate, I both watched it week on week at the time, and it was difficult to watch week by week because it's not built around that really. When I was going to interview one of the Stargate actors years later, I sort of forgotten stuff, so I rewatched all 40 in the course of like 2 weeks, and as a binge, it's fundamentally much better because the narrative flow is so strong. It was ahead of its time. If it was made today, it would be like a 7-season show, which is sad, but it was a forward-thinking show at the wrong time.
The problem with that though was I binge watched it, and a lot of the episodes kind of came together for me. Oh, Universe.
So I'm saying Universe is the binge show. Everything else is one at a time. You should always savor them. Universe is the binge show.
Okay.
It's half as enjoyable week to week, but as a binge, it is fucking good.
Okay, good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy throws in $2. Stargate will never have the name Enterprise.
Yeah.
I love the Star Trek references in Stargate.
And Star Wars. They go and try and watch Star Wars. They're canon. I love it. I mean, lots of stuff's canon, of course. But Universe is very good. It was very well written, but you've got to look at the 3 as being different entities, because they are.
Yeah.
But the characters are excellent, the acting is excellent, CG is excellent, the sets are fantastic. I mean, like I said, once you binge, now it is a show that you think is made today, made in 2012.
Yeah, well, you can almost compare it to Star Trek a little bit. Like SG-1 is TNG, Atlantis is maybe Voyager.
Yeah, I mean sci-fi, yeah, sure.
But it's also deeper. Like it's got more, it's got some Deep Space Nine elements as well. But it's more like Voyager, I think. And then Universe is maybe Enterprise.
No,
ended too soon.
Oh, sure. Well, I'd say it's DS9. Like, yeah. and like last 2 seasons of DS9, it's like you just gotta watch it.
Yeah.
It's one big story with good characters. It's not really a show by itself. It's a story. And the sad thing about Universe is that the last 3 of Universe are some of the best Stargate they ever did, because they were to build upon all of it's built upon other elements, but it's like so well crafted, and so they do some really, really good stuff. And like I said, I cried at the end because it was really beautiful. And it sucked, and it felt like a stab in the heart, you know.
And kudos to Stargate for boobies. There is the version with and that was Michael Shank's wife at the time. Lots of cool little interesting facts.
Or he married her after. I can't remember which one.
Yes, there's some around there though. Like he was married to her.
Yeah, both of Michael Shanks' wives are in the show.
Yes. He's a player.
Possibly.
So yeah. All right, 60 people here, 32 likes, guys. That's awesome. But let's get to 50 likes. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and super chat. We want to hear your thoughts, and we need the super chats. We need the help. We need the engagements. We want to hear what you guys have to say. So if you can, please do so. And Sergeant Roadkill comes through for us with £2. Doesn't Jack try to name the X-303 Enterprise?
It's not really a name, is it? X-303?
Yeah.
Prometheus instead. That's the code name.
Enterprise? No. Oh.
And what I like about Stargate especially is that it really wasn't dated in the same way that other shows were at the time. The only thing that really sets the first few years apart is the monitors being giant and 4x3.
Yeah.
Like it's filmed nice, it's lit nice, the CG's very good considering. Like there's a few they use models originally for some things. Some of the space effects in the second and third season, when you can tell their budget's running out, let them down. But it builds very, very well. You know, and if they ever did a proper HD re-release, like a proper one, it would, like proper rescan, it would hold up beautifully. It's shockingly good, whereas Slide, as it feels very of its age. Add other examples, it's like that feels like... No, Stargate holds up really well, and then obviously it goes literally from 1997 to the modern age. So you see their cameras change, you see that the monitors change from big ones to LED. It's not LED, but flat screens. It's fun to see the evolution of time, and obviously it was real time. So when we had new stuff happen, they had new stuff happen. You know, certain text that we had as our present would make their way into the show because it's of course we could do this now, right?
Yeah. I also love how grounded it is in like the actual military. Like they had a lot of military advisors working on the show to kind of, and the Air Force would have control over that at that time, right? So now it would be Space Force that would have control over it if Space Force is actually a thing now. But yeah, the Air Force would have been responsible, and I love the way it kind of played out, the politics of it all, where they, were kind of should people of Earth know about this and. No, and yeah, it makes you wonder what's actually going on in Cheyenne Mountain, because you never know. There's got a lot of secret military facilities. So,
well, how many people went to the site of Cheyenne Mountain just to look at it and be like, Stargate?
Yeah,
because that's the joke. It was such a good show as a cover. If that had been real, just make a show about it.
And then they let Wormhole Extreme do it, and it's like, if anybody talks about it, I love that.
But yeah, it was and I mean, the military stuff is clear. You know, they're a military team. It's grounded, but I mean, these are not average jackets, right? They didn't just wear camo. There's a style to it. They had a very, very good sense of how do we make it military plus, with some background extras in military standard gear. But taking the best of that, the duty blues are very smart. Let's use those. The tac vests, they are modern versions. They're cutting edge stuff. The weaponry, obviously, start MP5, go P90. That was cutting edge. You know, that's the thing that made it ubiquitous with sci-fi. You know, Stargate using the P90 led it to be in all the games that you know now. That's the only reason it became huge for that. The G36s, I mean, those came in.
And Devo77X says, where were the Canadian officers since Stargate Command is in NORAD? McKay, he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's one or two other ones you see, like the Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, it's run by the Air Force.
There, man.
I mean, can you be in the Air Force if you're Canadian?
Canadian Air Force. Canadian
exactly,
Air Force.
So you can't be in. So it was a US military base. That's why Atlantis is nice, because you see them have their patches from all the different countries, and they have, I think, like 20 or 30 different countries.
Yeah.
Alex, nice.
Wow, only 4% for Star Wars. Different crowd. Yeah, well, we are a Star Trek channel, and we got Stargate in the thumbnail, so those are going to be the top two.
I mean, there's also more Star Trek than Star Wars. Like, you'd be a lot more entertained for the rest of your life, right? Like, what flavor do you want? Sci-fi exploration. What sort of Star Wars do you want? Anakin's betrayal, guy doing this. You know, there's a lot less. Right, I'm going to end the poll. Start a new one, Stuart. So the question was, if you could only watch one for the rest of your life, what would you pick? 67% Star Trek, with 27% Stargate, 4% Star Wars, and 2%. That's allowed to go.
And if you guys are paying attention and actually, you know, are curious, we might have a Star Trek versus Battlestar Galactica live on the way at some point soon. So we'll be talking about that as well. But yeah, guys, hit that like button. We're still another 8 likes to get to 50, which is very doable. And yeah, please super chat in. We could really use the support. Not just moral support and just seeing all the pretty colors and feeling better about ourselves, but you know, it's been a kind of a slow slog with us being sick or away, and no Picard anymore. But Stranger World is coming up, so yeah, it's just kind of a bump in the road right now. So if you can help anyway with super chats, please do so.
It's just been a deep bump.
A goddamn canyon. So yeah,
there you go. New poll, Stuart. Read.
Oh my god, I don't know how to read. Would you class SG1 as a amazing show, a good show, an okay show, or I don't like it?
Yes, pretty much.
I would say an amazing show.
I would too.
Character development's on point. Stories are fantastic. They're semi-serialized. Well, it's major serialized, but you know what I mean. It's not like.
Well, I think at least the first 7 years, 7 out of every 10 episodes are one-offs with a hint of something else. So you could watch them randomly, but every single season there was also a serialized arc with with beats that would continue. So I think it's one of the few shows actually did achieve both successfully. Even seasons 9 and 10, plenty of one-offs, but the big story is actually more engaging, so that kind of worked better. But I mean, you know, you when you start the season with we pissed off the big bads, which in Star Trek didn't happen. There's no like, now they're coming after us every time. There's no constant force of pushing against. There's always we move that way, we pass through that. I guess the DS9 to some extent, but they also just like aren't there for 4 years, right? Like the Dominion aren't, you know what I mean? I think I'm correct in what I'm saying, but from episode 1 and then the end of season 1 is a payoff for the first episode, and then season 2 pays off what season 1 does and then builds upon it, and 3 and 4 ramps up, and then new people come in, and then there's civil wars, and you see the entire council of the Goa'uld, and then you see a super Goa'uld, and then you see a fleet. It is such a strategic build that it wasn't even they needed a plan, but they achieved a sort of a structure, like a logical, like there's a build. I get maybe they were just cognizant of not jumping the shark, you know, how to keep constrained. I wonder, or just it felt like how do you one up ourselves, not 2 up, 1 up, you know?
Yeah, they just had a fantastic writing team.
Oh yes, Kevin says the frustrating thing is that we all watched the Stargate games being made and all being abandoned. We only had 1 release out of 5 games, I believe it was, in the 10 years. I even pre-ordered one at Game, which is our game thing, game shop, and then cancelled it. And that game, Elite? No. Whatever. The first game was called. It was at the bug fix stage. The game was done, but the people said, MGM said, yeah, all you do is you fight Goa'uld every mission mostly, and it gets boring. And the fans are like, fucking shut up and give me the game. I mean, that okay, it might get a bit repetitive, but Jesus, that's most of the season.
Yeah. And let's not forget, for everybody, the person that asked about Canadians, I mean, this was filmed in Vancouver.
Yes.
So everybody was Canadian behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
every planet looked like Vancouver.
Yeah, and most of the guest stars. I mean, at that time, BSG? No, but there was multiple Canadian TV shows, Sanctuary as well, and you see the same 100 actors all the time. Yeah. But that was a nice community feel, having been watching most of those shows at the time.
Well, shows like Stargate, Star Trek, X-Files, things like that. It's always I know that guy, and it's always character actors coming in, and it's just what else was he in? We love playing that game, Sylvia and I, when we were watching. Like Todd Stashwick was in an episode of Supernatural. He played vampire, like a Dracula style vampire. Yeah, that's always fun. The character actors are always great. You get some recurring ones, and then you get like the Doctor, Robert Picardo, who actually became like a regular on Atlantis. And
that's because he was meant to be a one-off dickhead, and people loved him.
So was McKay, I think. McKay kind of weaseled in.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. He was a one-off, then a two-off, then we love you, let's bring you back. And then he became one of the most fan favorite characters of all the actors of all the shows. I mean,
Canada.
Yeah, seriously. ZPM.
I still disagree though. It is not a ZPM. I don't give a shit. It's a ZPM.
Good. Yeah. I always tell my English actors, say it the wrong way. It's like everyone always, when I get a new actor and they say, yes, Lieutenant.
No.
I know that's the correct way, but they say Lieutenant, so say Lieutenant.
Yeah, exactly.
Say it properly.
Also, like this is one of those franchises that can be self-reverent. Like they make fun of themselves sometimes with the fun episodes. Like you've got shows like Xena, you got shows like Supernatural.
Oh yeah,
they can take advantage of that. Like there's an episode of Supernatural where they're in a Scooby-Doo cartoon, for Christ's sake. So, and this SG-1 kind of does that a few times with the puppets and stuff. Like really hilarious stuff. So I love shows that can do that, and Star Trek never really does. The closest they come is like holodeck type episodes, but they never really step over that line of being self-referential, So
I mean, maybe as far as you can get as like Enterprise with Riker being the chef, because we never saw Chef.
Yeah, but I
mean, that's referential. You never saw Chef. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess. Great. Super.
Yeah.
Or the Klingons. We don't talk about it. That's referential. But that's more just necessity. They had
that's all in Earth and canon stuff. It's nothing like.
But that was referential. They could have ignored it. Like that was knowing. Attack Trouble as well.
Yeah.
Kirk being alive. That's all. That's obviously modern stuff.
Yeah. Guys, 4 more likes to get to 50. Let's do it. And we would like some more super chats if possible. We're like 40 minutes in. Let us know your thoughts on Stargate. What do you like best about it? Your favorite episodes? We want to talk about.
I mean, as you said, the nearest comparable is obviously TNG. TNG had 7 seasons and 4 movies. SG-1 had, if you include the first movie, which, considering how different Farpoint is to later TNG, you might be able to count it, 10 seasons and 2 movies, so it actually has more content. And these are of the 24 of an episode, 24. I think TNG is 160 episodes.
Not sure.
And then TNG and SG-1's like 210, right? So it's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
How do you think they compare as shows? How would you actually directly compare them? What does what better? What does, how do they compare? Because they are more comparable than say Farscape and TNG or BSG and TNG. They're much closer in sort of overall vibe.
I think they both do a fantastic job at universe building. Like introducing other species and stuff or races that come back. Character development is fantastic in both of them as well.
Is it though for TNG?
Not the first 3 seasons.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit, but it gets much better as it goes on, obviously. Yeah, I think Stargate hit that right out of the gate, pardon the pun, with their character development. It was just on point right from the beginning. So, let's see. Action, I mean, they both do action fairly well. I think Stargate hits that better, though. Because a lot of the action pieces in Star Trek make no goddamn sense. Like, just set your phaser on wide beam. But no, we gotta and run out of ammo with phasers.
Well, we remember the famous let's shoot down a blank corridor or miss, a la season 1 TNG.
Yeah, it's like I know.
Okay.
Trying to think of something else. I don't know.
Who does comedy better?
Oh, that'd be SG1. I think so. I think it goes back to what I was just talking about with the self-referential stuff.
If you had to say, it's a harder one to quantify, but visual effects, TNG's miniatures, but limited angles versus SG1 CG.
Yeah, TNG miniature work wasn't like stellar, really. It was very kind of there's nothing dramatic, like dynamic about it. So I would say I'd go Stargate on that one.
I mean, the Puddle from episode 1 looks better than anything TNG did, like realism wise. Like you know what I mean? Like that Puddle looks great from the very get go.
Yeah.
Good for them, right?
It's a cool effect.
I think they said from literally day 1 to day end of season, it costs $4,000 to go through the Puddle per actor.
Really? Wow.
Because of course the resolution improved, so it never got any cheaper. So when they stay on a scene where 6 go in, they just spent $20,000, and then come out again. They spent $40,000 on just the Puddle effect. Like
a lot of times you hear it, which I like.
Yeah,
you don't see it.
There's loads of that, but think about that for a second. That seeing money getting burned is because a hand phaser from TNG is not 4,000, right? Because the interaction on the Puddle is phenomenal. I don't even know how to do it really. But also, I'm not being paid $4,000 to do it.
Yeah.
You know, they got someone who obviously could do it. And things like character animation. I mean, they had only a few, but very good aliens for the most part. SG1, like fully aliens, the Asgard, the Ritu, the X, Y, and D. You know, few but well done. TNG didn't do that so much. That said, obviously TNG did 4-head aliens. Stargate doesn't do 4-head aliens really. Because one of the initial conceits of Stargate is that life is seeded in our galaxy. Now this develops as we go later on in the show, but it is showed earlier. So the idea being that why does every planet we visit with a Stargate look like Canada? Because
temperature.
Yeah, basically because the race that use the Stargate are humanoid who want a place they can go to and live. So of course, if it's Stargates on planets they can live. So it's a fallacy. If you only see white ducks, you assume there are no black ducks or geese. Confirmation bias.
Oh,
just because you see all the green Stargates is because it was deliberate. It wasn't.
But you do see alien landscapes in Stargate, so I mean that's kind of
but livable.
It's ones. It's like saying that seasons 1 to 3 of TNG are not good. Because you just remember those as being not good, but there's actually a lot of good in there. There is a lot of alien-like landscapes, but there's more, of course, of the Vancouver stuff, because it's easier, right? So it just becomes something that people lock onto.
And of course, a big thing is that the universe changes. So a lot of these planets, when they seeded them like 50,000 years ago, have had shit happen to them and become desolate since. There's an entire sequence where they go to one of the ancient outposts, and it's now a lava planet, and they have to wear special suits because in the meantime, the planet got killed I've still got to get the stuff from the thing, and well, yeah.
Yeah. Classic for real. I don't think you can compare those two. Window of Opportunity with Shades of Grey.
Similar bottle episodes. I think you misunderstood what a bottle show is.
Yeah.
Shades of Grey is a clip show. Well, they only filmed
Yes.
about 17 minutes of new footage. Window of Opportunity is 100% new clips. And even the repeated ones are new clips. That's the joke.
I mean, you could compare Window of Opportunity to Cause and Effect.
Of course you could. And there's more in Window of Opportunity because they do more gags.
Yeah.
Window of Opportunity is just... The only thing that is pay Kelsey Grammer for a day extra, right? That's the budget. And a few Monster Maroons that may or may not fit, etc. And action, of course, isn't really fair because, you know, people with guns that can fire blanks and you know, they're all relatively fit. I mean, TNG isn't an old cast, but you wouldn't, like, Deanna wouldn't be running through anywhere ever, really. Neither would Gates.
Yeah.
Patrick doesn't really look good doing action, and then Wesley was too young to do action, really. Yara and Worf are fine, but it's not an action cast. Versus you buy all four of them doing action.
Yeah.
Even to the nice contrast of Daniel, it's like, well, he's an archaeologist, yeah, but still trained to use a firearm, and he's one of the most satisfying elements to watch because he started as a pure archaeologist. He ends as this hyper genius military guy who gets it, who do the entire. That's the fun of him, right? He builds super well. And then, you know, Tilk becomes more human as we go on, to the point he's making jokes and going to a vagina show. I will not clarify what I mean by that.
I love how Daniel Jackson is still considered in the scientific community to be quack, though. That the pyramids were used as landing pads for ships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
there's the two different versions of him.
no, well, that's true. I mean, he, you know, if you're, well, it's like if all of your, okay, so there's a horrible trend in filmmaking where someone cancels a project that you haven't announced yet, hasn't been announced yet, so you can spend like a year working on a project doing concept art. If my exact example, the project gets cancelled, but you're on an NDA and it was never announced, which means you can't post your work nor mention it on a CV. So you know on your CV have been unemployed for a year because you can't mention it. Otherwise, they'd be like, "Oh my God, there was an untitled Spider-Man film that starred Ashton Kutcher." What?
Say a Batgirl film that was completely filmed and finished. And
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, it wasn't finished, but yeah, I know what you mean. And so then suddenly it disappears, and you've essentially not done anything for ages, but you might do your best work, you can never do it. Maybe you can sneakily send it as like a, look, casting director, I've done this. But then working on the SG Command thing, it's like he as they say in several episodes, he disappeared for 7 years. Like, we thought you were dead because, I mean, it's quite absorbing. You know, you live on the base, you don't get out much. Who are you phoning, right? His parents were dead, they died when he was young, his friends were all on the base. I mean, it's fun to see them walk out and be like, "What the fuck were you?" And especially as he had all these theories, these crackpot theories, and he disappears. Crazy.
Guys, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Let's get up to 75 right now. 58, which is pretty good. Let's go up to 75. And Super Chat.
Yep.
Yeah. New members as well.
Oh.
Click the join button. The options for joining the channel.
Maybe we'll add Stargate ships to the fleet.
Ooh.
Crazy. One thing I also want to bring up is that TNG has some legendary episodes worthy of that title, right? I would, though, however, say that on average, the batting average of Stargate is quite a lot higher than Star Trek TNG, of good episodes to bad episodes.
Yes.
Okay.
I would agree with you. You said that the whole time I've known you, and I 100% agree with you. The average is much higher, yes. Yeah.
I mean, how many off the top of your head, how many bad episodes of Stargate SG-1 are there that you'd class as bad? Just throw out a number.
Dozen. Which is just a number I pulled out of the air. Bad is subjective, first of all.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that,
Yeah.
people might like, I don't like. One of the ones that you asked me earlier, which one of the ones that pops into my mind, the one where Jack O'Neill gets stranded and has to like come to the realization he's got to live on this planet. And I'm like,
100 Days.
I saw that one like 4 times.
Wait, hold on. There's several of those. Is that one where he gets old, or where he has an meteor shower with the lady?
That one.
Okay, that one's less good. The 100 Days is more engaging.
Yeah, that's a better one for sure.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's the one I saw multiple times.
It's okay.
I just caught it on TV, and it's like, this is all right. But
I mean, I like when they put the Stargate on its side and they have to crawl out of it. There's some fun gags to that. But yeah, that one was an odd one for sure. Wasn't one of their best. I never think of that when I look back. There wasn't much of that. I think for me, there's under 10 bad episodes, and I'd probably say under 7. There's probably 20 or so mid episodes, but I think for the most part, Stargate is a B to A show, with almost everything being enjoyable, and it kind of depends what you're vibing, because maybe you don't want an action show, but there are some episodes of Stargate I could watch again and again and again and again. Just really, really solid, because you can tell they're inspired by TNG. Like the writing is kind of like that. I'm sure they all watched TNG when they were coming up as writers. Right? And it just feels like an evolution of that, but to the nth degree.
Archmage Phrase says TNG and SG-1 share the same bad episode, Code of Honor and Emancipation. I don't remember which one Emancipation is.
Okay, so they were written by the same writer.
Oh, good God.
10 years apart. Emancipation is in season 1, where they find the Chinese Asian tribe, and Carter has to fight the leader for domination. So there's a black tribe in TNG, and now it's an Asian tribe in the other one. Now, Emancipation is significantly better than Code of Honor, significantly better. The costuming is really good. The actors are all actually really, really solid. It's got a famous Asian lead that you'll recognise from everything, and Sam's actually very good in it, better than Tasha was. But it's like, but it is much better. And season 1 certainly has the most weak episodes, but they're not bad. They're just finding their footing. But
yeah,
I mean, I always say that SG-1 has the single biggest jump in quality from season 1 to season 2. If season 1 is good, season 2 is already great. Like instant hop up. TNG season 1 is okay. Season 2 is pretty good, and it ramps up slower. But season 1 and 2 is like, Tok'ra, bigger political stuff. We're gonna go for some spaceships. Like it really, really amps up. And they got, I think they got 3 season order. It was the only show at the time that was getting 3 season orders. I think the first season was a standalone, but I think they got 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, and 7. So they had confidence through 3 years of stories, and then 8, 9, 10 were single order. Yeah.
Sergeant Roadkill, 2 pounds. Which had the best robotics, cybernetic, and enemy?
Ooh.
I mean, I think the replicators in Stargate would be more dangerous than the Borg, in my opinion.
Why is that? That's actually fun. That's a fun. What do you guys think? Replicators or Borg?
Well, replicators consume everything. Not just. Well, I mean, the Borg also consume tech ships, I guess, but it's not the same. Like they don't eat through things and just use it to produce more. Yeah, I don't know. I think the replicators are scarier to me than the Borg are, personally.
I mean, they're very different yet very the same. It was a wonderful way of achieving a different result. The replicators are more of a genuine disease feel, because they can even eat an old thing, right? It's not about perfection. It's about what is their hive mentality in that moment, their directive from their whatever.
Yeah.
The Borg, you can literally run up to a Cuban berth and just be on board and say hi. You could do that, and you'd be nervous, but you could do it. It wouldn't be too much of an issue. Replicator, and of course, any ship you bring at them makes them stronger, and they will get through to you, and they will kill you. I mean, when they fire their acid, it's horrible. I mean, they'll murder people like gruesomely. Borg, you can whatever.
I agree with Alan though, but they became less scary when they had the human form up of replicators.
Well, yeah, they're more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary, yes, but it's like a disease versus a pathogen you can talk to. They became different. But they're obviously nerfing them. They put them in a time stasis grid for 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally had to remove them out of their universe. Because they're too powerful. And then, of course, we got the super replicators who had a fleet, who led to a phenomenal space battle. I mean, I would not want to do that battle. God damn, those guys. The in-house team at whatever it was called, Atlantis, was so good. My God. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I love the idea of Atlantis too. Like just this unexplored alien space station that they don't know what's down on the lower decks. That they have to. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It gives you chills, doesn't it? Just the idea of.
Yeah, kind of like a dungeon or like a lost temple kind of thing.
Yeah,
that you're living in. But you're not sure what it's capable of. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Then the shielding system, like everything about it, is just like, kind of cool.
Yeah, especially when you think they just lived in the top tower.
Yeah.
And they didn't explore, I think, even a third of the city by the end, and that's when they unlocked most of it. And it was so big that you have to have a super mega battery just turn stuff on, and the systems won't even say they exist until you turn them on. They're that advanced. Yeah. They have that much power. And I think that was another beautiful thing of Atlantis, crossing the streams a bit. But again, how do you nerf the city that the people who built the thing of your show, the stargates, the thing of your show, how do you nerf that? And you say, I want power. Oh yeah, well obviously we got there in a hope and a prayer. Now we're having to do we can power the lights, and the LED bulbs work, and the computers. Those are our computers that we plugged in, right?
Yeah.
But then there's moments of satisfaction where they can use something, and these hints of power that they get, either to drain a power source to use them, or they get the shield on, and it teases these later moments of satisfaction. It's like, yes, we can have the shield on for 10 hours, but guess what? Those 10 hours burned all our power. We're back to zero again. We spent a year getting this damn power source. Damn it!
I love when things like lock down as well. And they have to find a way around it. It's much like DS9 in that regard.
Yeah.
Where the station locks itself down.
Well, it was kind of a sentient computer in a very passive way, but the city knew when to protect itself. It knew what to do, and then to see it fly. I mean, especially week to week, back in 2009 or whatever, like the build up and the payoff of that is phenomenal, and then going back on another lake planet, so you don't have to. You can use the same CG again. Hey, good move. A city the size of Manhattan.
Yeah.
With and they even show in several episodes the hidden rooms, and also it's flooded for several episodes, like for half a season. So it's like we can't even get to some of the levels.
How many people were on Atlantis?
Oh God, under 100.
Yeah, yeah. That's why it wasn't explored, because send teams of like 4 or 5 down to different areas, and it just would take forever.
Yeah, I think because but can you imagine though? Being asked, would you like to go to another galaxy? We don't know what's there. Mm. You can only bring what you can carry, and half it has to be technical, like you can't just bring personal possessions. There's no reason to think we can get back. You can't communicate back. This could be your rest of your life, it could be tomorrow. The bravery of that, just picture that for a second. That is wow. And
that's where it kind of exceeds Star Trek, because they went to another galaxy. They're not even in our galaxy, for Christ's sakes. So
yeah,
and that's to put the way stations between.
That was a hell of a clever thing as well. Yeah. Reverse engineering, stealing stargates and putting them from 2 different galaxies to make a bridge. Beautiful. Yeah, it makes them trip like 26 minutes.
Yeah,
which is just ridiculous. I mean, just because then it makes. Because the crew of a spaceship, of an Enterprise, say, are the best of the best, but they're confident, they're chill. Some are there just to do their job, some are there to excel. Everyone at Atlantis isn't the best at... They're not the best of the best of the best. They work in this giant machine that is called, we want to explore another galaxy. It's a different mentality, because half of them have no military training, and they're not good at that. But they know special things, sciencey things. They obviously want to give up their lives for this. They're fully. I mean, once, like, you're already fully committed by the time you step through the damn gate. That's it. You've committed. Like, they believe in the cause in a way that is hard to express. Oh, amazing.
And Dan, there's only one way to say ZPM. Sorry. Patrick throws in 22 euros. Oof. Amazing. That is amazing. Thank you. For me, Star Trek showed me a world I would aspire to, but no, I would never see myself. Stargate showed me a world that was based in my own time and thus potentially could see come true. Not only to dig up the gate. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I really like about it as well. Is you hear about all the clandestine military or bases and all that. You don't know what's going on there. This is so grounded in reality, even the way they deal with the politics of it.
That's a good clip show.
Which one are you talking about?
Exactly. The politics one around the table. That's the official clip show of Stargate.
Oh, yeah.
Where Thor beams in and says,
yeah,
shut up.
Yeah.
Give them money. Or I'm leaving.
Yes, that was great. Yeah,
and that's the clip show. That's the one save money clip show of the entire show. The Atlantis one's much worse, but you forget it. It's so boring.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it is the grounding in reality. Like kind of how I started this off, because you never know what's going on, and it could definitely be something like this. And they let shows like Stargate come on the air as disinformation campaigns, because they do that in the show itself with the Wormhole Extreme.
Yep,
it's friggin' great, man.
Yeah.
You got to know that the government's doing shit like that. So.
It's also fun, and it shouldn't be fun. It's fun when they start saying, the Stargate costs us $7 billion a year. we have to fake that somehow. Like, we've given you a budget, so every time you see like a new MALP or a new TAC set or a new I think it costs like 40,000 to turn the Stargate on every time, because like apparently from the national grid. There's a nice little realism there. I assume by later on in the show they just use natural generators, like it's all they can make their own power. But at the start it's like this thing is a superconductor, and as we see in later episodes of those seasons, it will take as much power as you throw into it.
Yeah,
because you can use a planet to charge it to travel to 30 galaxies away. Like, this thing is cool. I mean, it's built out of the specific materials to do that, but it's amazing stuff. And what I love about Universe, one of the things is that whoever did the gate design back in the movie, they gave it the number of chevrons they end up having. And it took 15 years to see what the 9th one did.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just there. It's there the entire time waiting, right? 5 is your, or 6 is your coordinate, 7th is yourself to create a spatial, and then 8 creates a inter, and then I love it. It almost as if it was intended.
Yeah. Wow. 55 people watching, 60 likes, guys. Hit that like button. Let's try to get up to 75 if possible. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. Keep the super chats coming. We really
couple of
appreciate
tens
those.
would go a long way.
Yes, yeah. Let us know your favorite episodes.
Yes.
Or pit Star Trek episodes against Stargate episodes for us.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that Star Trek, TNG especially, has some of the best single episodes that are just better. Because I'm Window of Opportunity being an exception, but which Stargate episodes are like truly exceptional, like to the but TNG
episode 200.
Oh, you think? Oh, see, I consider that very, very good. I wouldn't, but it's very, very good though.
That's one of my favorites for sure.
But TNG has, you could do 4 or 5 that are actually exceptional, right? Like genre defining. What SG1 ones are like that. They haven't got as many or any. Window would be close. But that's a hell of a zeitgeist to get, right? And TNG didn't know when they were doing them, right? They weren't saying this will be our everything will align, everything the stars will align for, right? But as I said, SG1 has a ton of A's and a ton of B pluses, right? And some of them, I mean, one of my favorite ones Because I think also where I was in my life at the time, like it resonated in a certain way, and because I experienced it at the time, so I experienced the build from this lowly team to being intergalactic powerhouse, right? hell of a feature creep. And two of my favourite, or three if you extend it, is the episodes where they grab spoilers, it's a big spoiler, where they kill Kronos, which is one of the big antagonists or side big antagonists, and they get a mothership. And that itself felt huge. We've got a spaceship. Yeah. And those things are world-destroying, ostensibly world-destroying. And then suddenly, because they're going to spend 2 episodes back-to-back on those sets, they build all these big sets for the mothership. So many sets. There's 3 episodes on the set. And then it's like, wow, these sets are incredible, and they're big, and they're bold, and they're fun. And then now, we can counterattack. It's like, we can counterattack? What? Okay. And there's a sun-destroying plan. And then Apophis comes in with a fleet.
Yep.
And we blow it up. And that's all big. We're gonna go further. We're gonna leave that bad situation and get transported to another galaxy. And go lost in space. And that's bad enough. No. It gets worse. And then Apophis comes. And now we're lost in space / Voyager / we're fucked. And end on that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then we come back and we get this really good action chase sort of episode in the mothership. We see lots of sets. We see Apophis, the end of Apophis in his red armor. We see evil Tilt, which is so fun. Replicators appear for the not first time, but they as a full force. And you get this. Then the final part, like family in TNG. Then you have to get a Worf, Picard, Tilt back from the dark side. There's a 4-parter. All 4 parts are really good in their own way. The android first part, the attack second part, the 3rd part escape, the 4th part deal with Tilk. I mean, that's an incredible 4-parter, and the CG's phenomenal. It's the first use of the high-end mothership model they use for the rest of the show for 6 years. I mean, those 4 are so good because it goes from being these 4 guys going out to green planets to a sci-fi epic. I mean, you can tell my enthusiasm for at the time, but I mean, now I'm reminding you. What do you think? How do you counter me in that?
I wouldn't counter you in that.
I mean, how would you follow me on that? Your thoughts on those 4?
I got nothing to say, man. I don't know.
I mean, did they hit you as well?
I'm not sure I know specifically which ones you're talking about.
Really? You know, Apophis comes in his big ship, and they go to the galaxy. Replicators come in.
I don't remember.
It's the end of season 4, start season 5. It's like, see, that's the problem. You binged. I had to wait week on week, and then
did.
Oh man.
Did.
Because that just was such a leap, and it was earned. It was all earned.
Quantum.
It was close, yeah. And then we lose the ship, and it's okay. We don't get a ship for a while. That was
like
our big ship.
I need to go back. And I want to go back and rewatch them.
But I would not binge them though. I would savor them and watch one a night. You know, really, because that show's worth thinking about. And
yeah. Sergeant Roadkill, 2 pounds. Best Dwight Schultz episode. Yes, he was in at least 1 episode of Stargate. Was he in more than 1?
No, just 1. That is a good episode though.
Well, that'll be. I would say nth degree, honestly, for that.
Well, he's a lot less in Caretaker, but he's very good in it. His costume is great. I've actually been to the botanical gardens they filmed that at, both the interior and the exterior. So I've been in that, and it was quite surreal to like, oh, that's the alien dome. But I mean, Barclay, he's more deep as Barclay, but he's funner as Caretaker. And that's just a fun episode.
Yeah. Trey Bone says, "I just want new Stargate." Yes.
I want new. I'm running Matt Deckard's because it's just stupid.
Sorry, I was coughing. I didn't hear what you said.
Matt Deckard's readers coming out made me laugh too much.
Stargate went downhill after they dropped the nudity.
The first episode.
Yeah. And then you got to make sure you got that version.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And of course we had Q. He was in TNG for 7 episodes.
Yes.
He's not as good, but that's because he's
Angelica.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. The guy that
He's
didn't
an asshole
age
too.
Well, yeah, he plays the type better. Well, I mean, those are sort of the same character, just different veins. Those two,
Yeah.
the Q and the other guy. Oh, Maria Sirtis came and played a Russian. As random as that was, she was pretty good.
And Gary Chalk is a Russian also. Optimus
Oh,
Primal for Beast Wars.
Oh, he's lovely. I've met him once or twice.
I've met him a few times too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Stargate, the casting almost always was excellent. I mean, TNG did a very good job too, but SG1, because they tended to give more time for their cast, they found the balance of story and character. So for the most part, you liked the guest actors more, I think.
Yeah, we had like
Not sure why.
Paul was in there.
Yeah,
Court was in there.
Yeah, Nox leader.
Trip was in there.
Michael.
Yeah.
I'll probably know them all.
Yeah. I didn't really like T'Pol or Quark's characters, honestly.
Well, the Nox is a definitive one for what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think T'Pol, she acted odd in it. She's too. It's odd.
Very odd.
Yeah, they're fine. I think they're both directed by Chris Judge. I think. Well, he helped write them because he wanted these Jafar. I mean, he should do, right? He's the Jafar guy. He wanted these Jafar politics episodes, and she's a good actress, but she's odd in it. But I mean, you've been a slave your whole life. You're fighting oppression. The weird characters to play, right? Like, I get it. But Blair Braytak, I mean, what a class act performance for 10 years, and didn't age.
Yeah.
I mean, just from the first time he appears, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. What bridge? It's just saying. Oh, okay. Hammond of Texas. Yes, because he's bald. Yes. You get it.
Yeah.
And then to see him grow and be friendly and really, really good.
Renee Arbenois was in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a dick. Yeah. That's a good.
Yeah.
There's so many good sci-fi concepts, and just like Voyager, it benefited from CGI they could do strategically because they weren't burning money because they're always. SG1 was very much a costume-centric show. They always put so much money and effort into costumes, and when you put that on screen, the whole thing kind of raises. I wouldn't associate like Outer Limits with great costumes. I just wouldn't, right? That's not what it's there for. They didn't put the money in that way. Babylon 5, somewhat, but some was very cheap, some was very cool. Like Jakkar's costume is phenomenal, but other people's are just like whatever. SG1 has a very, very good costume department.
Devo says I love the character Vala because I love the actress from Farscape, same as Mitchell. Yeah, and I heard in Farscape they're both in it, and they play the opposites for each other on Stargate. Vala's characters like Mitchell and anyway.
Well, actually, you've not seen Farscape then?
Not yet. No.
Oh, it's definitive. Love Farscape.
I'll have to get into it.
Because when you watch them back to back, you realize that they're very good actors because they're not remotely close to their two characters, not even slightly. I mean, the end of SG1 Mitchell has some of the charm seeping through because he's now comfortable with the team. That definitely comes through, but Vala's not at all. I mean, it's a really, really strong performance from Claudia Black. What a fun get as well to get them both.
Mm-hmm. I think they make a joke about it in one of the episodes or something. I don't know. I haven't seen
in 200 they make a Farscape scene, and originally they had them play their characters, and I think Ben Brown has said, "Can we just swap characters?" And so they made Michael play Crichton, and that guy played Farscape guy, and it's like it's funnier, right? It's just funnier to not do the thing that they were going to do, and then Asgard comes up and is Rigel. Yeah, really, really fun. Really, really fun. Oh yeah, Felger. Yeah, the Dr. Phlox playing Felger. Also funny. Yeah, he's great in that. God, they did comedy so well. Like, not necessarily laugh out loud comedy, but clever, funny funness that didn't feel too stupid. Like a lot of Jack's dialogue is comedic because he's, as he says, as they sort of develop throughout the seasons, he is smart. I mean, he couldn't be a colonel in the Air Force without being smart, and not just that. In the Stargate program, which is a top tier organization, but he lulls people into false sense of he's an idiot by just letting himself be fun and be an idiot But he's actually
And
smart.
just say things that I would say in some situations.
Yeah. But he's not. Yeah, he's not book smarts. But he's not just street smarts. He's strategic smart. He is people smart in terms of like formal stuff. But it's a clever diffusion, right? If you play the fool, they'll react a different way. It'll undo you a bit. But when he's on point, you know, and RDA, you know, he did the range. He really did.
I think a lot of him leaked into the character though.
Well, that's one of the big complaints of later SG1 is it's just him having fun, which is fine. But he's a much more complex character early. That's why the first 4 are just like, well, 2, 3, and 4 are very, very, and it kind of varies a bit. But I mean, all the characters are people at a certain point. They're just evolutions of, you know.
Yeah.
They're allowed to be more diverse because they've grown up together. They aren't just here, interact, you know? Oh yeah, Coons with Star Trek reference, yeah. Yeah.
Jeffrey Combs is in an episode.
No, Coombs is the name of the Star Trek Phlox.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he was in Stargate. That is not how you spell that.
Hit the like button, guys. 4 more likes. I want to get to 75 if possible. Keep the super chats coming. We really want to hear from you guys on this. So if you can support us at the same time, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, Nicola de Boer was in SGA for an episode, playing the all-female SG team. She was good in that. That was just because she was in Star Trek. That was just because of that. Which is good. It's all good.
Yeah. From all the Patrick says, from all the Goa'ulds, was my favorite. Unfortunately, you can never come back. Yeah.
Yeah, that hit me real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, who are your favourite Goa'uld and why?
God.
Yeah, I know they are.
Apophis, because he's fucking like a cockroach. Can't get rid of him. Think he's dead. Nope.
Well, he's a god. Gods can never be killed.
Who was the...
Should I list them out so you can just...
Was it? Yes, please do.
Okay, you had Apophis, Hathor, Heruer, Kronos, Nearti, Zipacna, Anubis, Baal, of course.
Who was the...
Chlorel.
Anubis. Like Anubis.
Bastet, Seth, Satesh, you, Amaterasu. Yep, you. Amaterasu, Ahsoka.
You're an ass. What?
Camulus, and there's the Heruer as well. So I think it's pretty much it.
Yeah. Baal was good, though. Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah, I like Anubis.
It was very good. I mean, yeah, I love the when he comes in the
Osiris, yes, Osiris is good too.
Yep, that midriff costume was great.
Yes.
No, I mean that season 5 opening is or no 6 because Daniel just died. Spoiler. Is great because, you know, how do you up the stakes? You have the Goa'uld go to a planet and say, "Come at me, bro," to some Asgard, and win. That's all you have to do, and it changes the entire paradigm until a O'Neill class comes in and says, "Oh no, 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 it's our best ship. Go away. Nope, 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 nope." But Bliskners we can take out. Ooh, I love it. And then to slow build the guy. And the Cull Warriors, you know, I mean, Cull Warrior versus Borg, Jesus, I mean, 2 black soldier guys, you know, can kill 100 Jafar in a few seconds. Doesn't help they just run at them, but still.
Sergeant Roadkill, 2 pounds. Which race would you switch between shows?
Ooh.
Well, the Goa'uld are very much like the Trill.
Evil Trill, that's funny. That's a really good question, actually. I mean, you sort of allude to it. Put replicators in Trek, how they deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a story. I'm not saying I want to do it, but that would be a good story. Actually, you know what? Asgard would be really fun. Because their tech level would be very Trek comparable.
Well, I'd say it's beyond Trek.
Well, comparable, like in the range of what Trek
Yeah.
can do, right?
Yeah.
But like we don't see. Wait, are there any puppet? Are there any tiny puppet aliens in Trek?
Well, in Cat's Paw and TOS, there's those two little ones.
Right. Because that'd be fun to see like a Klingon, 6'2" Klingon, and 3'2" Asgard would be quite a fun. You know.
Yeah.
I am not a merry man. Yes, we do not care. Whatever. That'd be a fun matchup, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vulcans talking to Asgard would be quite fun. The arrogance of each.
Ooh, yeah. That would cause like some kind of like
Civil War.
galaxy destroying phenomenon.
Oh god. Yeah.
Furlings versus Klingons.
I mean, yeah. Well, there are furling elements in my cause, guys, I also make Stargate films. I've released 2
Yes.
and a crossover. So that there is a I mean, it's in the second episode. There is a furling, a large furling subplot in the film. That's kind of the how and if, right? But you brought up a minute ago, who would win, right? What sort of tech disparity? You know, are the Goa'uld stronger than X? Are they 1 to Y? What's your vibe? You know, what are we comparing to?
All right, let's see. Well, I want to see the replicators take on the Borg. I mean, that's just a given. How could the Borg even deal with the replicators? I don't think so.
But I mean, like an Asgard ship, you know, can't take out an Enterprise D. You know, what's your vibe with how powerful is Atlantis in the Trek universe, right? What sort of power level do you think, or an X3 or 4 with their phasers and Asgard shields? You know, what sort of level do we think would you compare things to?
That's a very good question. I think the Asgard are beyond Federation tech. Personally, I mean, in Star Trek, they're always running into like.
Yeah.
The technology on that thing is like
nothing we've seen before. So,
Yes, except for last week. Yeah, that's a good question. I think the Enterprise could just wipe the floor with the Daedalus, though. Honestly, the Earth ships aren't that impressive to me. Honestly, yeah, I'm not coming up with any good ones.
Because they're differently comparable in that
absolutely
the Stargate Daedalus is a human-built aircraft carrier in space, which is built with very hard materials, right? The hull is Naquadah based, but it's the things that make it go are Asgard based. So its shields are really powerful because they're Asgard. Its hull could be destroyed by normal stuff. When it gets its laser cannons, they are very powerful. And their engines, they can cross between galaxies in 3 weeks. The Enterprise can get to the nearest whatever in weeks, right? I mean, Voyager between 2 parts of our galaxy was 70 years. Daedalus can get to the next galaxy in 3 weeks. So, I mean, speed-wise, they're not even comparable. I mean, it can outmatch anything. I would be happy to say that just the shields, weapons, and engines of the Daedalus outweigh most things in Trek, like Federation-wise, because those 3 things are Asgard, right? It's a cheat. And then you put the X-302s being little shitty fighters that have machine guns and missiles.
Yeah.
Because once you say it like that, you know,
Well, it's like phaser versus that. Phaser rifle versus staff weapon.
Yeah. P90 versus fuck you. P90 wins. But yeah, Asgard beam weapons wins, but then missiles, right? The disparity of their main yielding is very, very different. The railguns doesn't do anything, right? But then they've got these nukes, the Hornets. I mean, the Hornet missiles. I mean, those are. I mean, how would a nuke go against an Enterprise shield? These aren't, 1960s nukes. They're modern day high yield Naquadah enhanced warheads. I mean, those things are gonna damage, right? You'd think. So then Asgard. I mean, they get between. What's the Asgard's galaxy called?
Nexus.
Nope. Ida, I think. Alright, so they can get from their galaxy to ours in like 6 hours. I mean, you can't even compare, right?
Yeah.
Can't even compare. But then something like a mothership, a Goa'uld mothership, especially the early season one, they just have big particle weapons and shields that are fine. Though now that thing I think could be taken out by an E quite happily. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But it's because Asgards are a step above, of course.
Yeah. Guys, got anything you want to throw at us? Versus ship-wise?
Oh, yes. That's a good.
Species-wise,
And super chat that
episode-wise?
if you want to double challenge us.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Ancient drones and bye-bye Starfleet. I mean, okay, Iconian gateways or stargates, which is better?
Well, they're different, right?
Yes, I know. One puddle jumper could have dealt with the Enterprise. Which Enterprise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Puddle jumper versus runabout. I'd probably give that to the puddle jumper.
But again, different things. Hi, Hype No. Oh, get well soon. His Iconian gateway is a quicker, more reliable gateway in our own galaxy, but I do not think for a second it could go to the edge of our galaxy or to another galaxy. So the tech is less advanced, but what it can do in the short range is way better. So they're different things, right? It's like a speed car versus a electric car. One cannot do the other thing's thing. It just can't.
Yeah.
What was the other comparison you had? Oh, a puddle jumper versus a runabout. That's difficult. Puddle jumper's obviously much slower, not FTL. Definitely more maneuverable. But I would say sublight runabout would be much faster because it's designed for more things.
Yeah.
Puddle jumper has unlimited firing radius because you just track it with your brain, so you just fire forwards, it goes backwards. Whereas you have a firing arc with a runabout. But I mean, the single biggest thing, of course, is an ancient drone can go through shields. So that's a problem. Because one drone just hitting the cockpit of the runabout, dead. Hitting the engine, dead. Trek ships need shields.
Yeah.
It's really important. It kind of makes them go.
Asgard versus Species 8472. Yeah. What?
That's interesting. I don't think the Asgard have a planet-killing weapon, so that would certainly be Doomsday winnable. But also, I don't think the 8472 could build a time dilation bomb that fit in a little suitcase.
Yes.
So I'm sure they could build a planet bomb. They just don't want to. Yeah. Hard to say.
Patrick throws in €2.
Thank you.
Wormhole Drive, last episode of Atlantis versus Spore Drive.
No, this is Spore Drive. Yeah. Your thoughts?
But just, I would say Wormhole Drive just because it's less stupid.
Hey, you weren't there at the time, and then somebody invented the wormhole drive just to get them home. So, oh yeah, we can do this now. What? What do you mean you can use the same idea as a Stargate to get... What? But I'll say, because Spore Drive can be powered with a single ship's warp core, Wormhole Drive needs 3 ZPMs to function.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, comparative power to speed is not even close. Plus Wormhole, well, I guess if you Wormhole... Ooh. You could wormhole drive back in time.
Yep.
You go through a solar flare. Oh,
Well, theoretically, you could with the mycelial network.
yeah.
I'm connected to all points everywhere.
No, of course you can, but I never thought of that. That'd be a how'd you bring another Atlantis to the party? You have it go back in time from the future. Oh, ooh.
Heller 1 Omega, Riker versus Jack O'Neill. That's simple, Jack O'Neill. You know what? There's no comparison there. Sorry.
Well, the only problem with that is that you've got real military versus space not military. Is Riker better trained to hand versus a guy who's actually trained for hand to hand, or is space future hand to hand training more superior to modern day hand to hand training? Right. That's the comparative.
Plus, Jack's Whittier.
Yeah.
That's a total package. It's Jack O'Neill, 100%. SPS Guru 2005, €5. Yes. In STO, the Iconian gateways also existed in the Andromeda galaxy. Well, yes. Yeah.
Cool. And Musical says Wormhole Drive worked with 1 CPM. Did it? I thought it needed all 3. Thought that was kind of the point of it.
Martin Pelt, €10. My favorite quote of SG1, indeed. What's yours?
It's the I am Groot, but works just as well.
Yeah, I love Teal. Like, his facial expressions are fucking on point. And you see Chris Judge at like a convention, and he's so animated and laughing and joking around. It's like, damn, man. What the hell?
I have seen him drunk so many times in person. One of the conventions we did when I was a lot younger, because he was like one of the biggest drinkers at any given event, and he actually couldn't. Well, he was hungover the next day, and you could tell. Let's just say that. And I remember there was this tiny hotel. It was a lovely hotel, like it was great. It was very intimate. And there was a photo shoot area which had our props and costumes, so that was kind of our zone. And Chris was just in that corridor with like 5 people that he sort of knew, with like just drunk, just really like just drinking like out of the way. And there was like 50 people in the main bar area, and he was just there with those people. And you just walk by and see him laughing in a big sort of big way. And I was like, oh, there's Chris. Just gonna walk by him. Oh, yeah, more drunk. Just yeah.
I got one for you. Teal'c versus Ronan versus Worf.
Yes, that's interesting. Well, you go first because you brought up.
Oh, good. If Teal'c has a staff weapon, I mean, Worf's out of the picture. Hand-to-hand combat, though, it would be I don't know, man. They'd all be a bloody pulps by the end of it, because none of them would give up.
That is true.
There's no answer to that question. It's an unsolvable puzzle.
Well, they're very different people. Worf is physically the strongest. He's an alien, but he's also the slowest.
So is Ronan.
No, Ronan's a humanoid. He's normal strength. He's strong because he built up muscle by fighting his whole life. He's just big, right? He's like the Rock. Like, he's just strong because he's strong. He's not actually strong. But Worf is not fast. He's not slow, but he's a bit bulky, right? Ronan is really fast and maneuverable, so he can throw more punches. And he doesn't have a self-preservation mechanic, so he has a different sort of fighting style. Plus his gun is really good. So he's fast. He's more like on the ninja side of things if you're going for fast assassin. Worf is far more tank-like, but he's physically the strongest by a good chunk. Worf is Teal'c's interesting because he's not slow, but he's not fast. He is stronger than a human because of the Goa'uld, but not substantially. But he can grab your hand and break it, right? But also I think, has a lot of willpower. Worf does as well, but he doesn't use it a lot of the time. Like, against the Jem'Hadar guy, to a pulp. But I think Teal'c, it's bred into him, the idea of he will actively take more injury before he stops, because he will heal. Like, he can ruin himself and keep going. Worf heals normally, but he's got more. So they're all different. I think Ronan will be out first because he's just physically not able to do it, but he'll give some good punches.
Michael's Asylum makes a good point. Did you just not see the episode of DS9 where he fought dozens of Jem'Hadar? Yeah. He wouldn't give up. Yeah.
Although the Jem'Hadar weren't trying to kill him.
That's true.
This, I guess, would be like an all all hands bar.
Hmm.
It depends who had the better punches, honestly. Like strategy, you know. Because I feel like yeah, no, actually no. Tilk would be better trained because he was actually part of an army for his entire life. He raised the ranks to be the first prime of said army, so he's the best of the best. Worf, remember, he grew up on Earth or in Russia. He got Starfleet training with some personal ambition in martial arts. So he's not better trained, right? He's just some security guy. He's probably on the Enterprise D because he's also a Klingon, which gives him enhanced strength and such. Like Alara on the Orville, right? She's not the best tactical officer, but she is because she has better strength. So I think Tilk is a better overall package, but Worf is physically stronger and could do stronger punches. So it depends how much Tilk could take. Yeah.
Still interesting. I'd like to see it.
Yeah. No, very interesting. I mean, they might both be a bit too old for it now.
Yes.
Michael Dorn is late 70s and the other one. One of my favourite episodes of SG-1, I think this is actually very close to a standout, is the Antarkan armband episode. They're Antarkan. Nope. It's the one where they have these armbands that go on their arms with the little crystals, and it enhances them physically until they become, almost Khan-like of arrogance, and then they say, yes, we'll go to the secret mission, and they run away and do the mission, and they can run like the Flash and fight like the Flash, and then they all get depowered as soon as they get to the mission.
Don't know if I remember that one.
Yeah, seriously, watch them one at a time because they're all memorable. Because that is an amazing episode because A, it was early on where they were just guys and gals, and suddenly they were super powered people. There's a great joke where Carter says she wants to write some science like lecture papers because she has all these ideas, and she never finds the time. But because the armbands allow her to write faster and think faster, she's able to write her entire book in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally is so good that she's typing on the computer, right? And then she goes away and has lunch. She comes back. The thing's still typing because the RAM of the computer can't keep up with her keystrokes. So she doesn't have to type. Like, she's done it, and it's going, and then she goes away and comes back, and it's that fast. And Daniel reads an entire library because he can... Got it. He just understands it. And I love these little concepts and the way they're done, and like... Daniel, like, he doesn't need his glasses anymore because now he's suddenly Super Daniel, and he like takes them off.
I remember that. I remember the library thing.
Yeah. It's just some really, really good things, and there's some really good CG for it. I love the use of that's the one time we see those types of Goa'uld corridors. That was the only time those were used. They were redone, and then I love it because they destroy his Apophyse's new special mothership that's bit shit. Bit shit design. But it's fun to see them win because they won so infrequently in the grand scheme. Like single conflicts, sure, we have better guns, but on a grand scheme it was pretty regularly.
Trey Bone says, who was the better character, Carter or Troy? Carter. Hands down. Yeah. Go stand on your roof.
Yeah.
Not even comparable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Teal'c versus Data. Data.
No, yeah, Data wins on those metrics.
Yeah.
Fraser versus Crusher. Ooh. I like Crusher's bedside manner more, but Fraser's got a lot more screen time. Well, no. She uses her screen time better than Crusher. But she's always a secondary, but she's always given always something. Crusher is either a primary, a secondary, or tertiary. She's there to say something medical. She has more primaries than Fraser.
Yeah.
She never gets primaries, but most of her secondaries are she's being doctor, right? And then her tertiaries are anybody could do the role.
I'd say Crusher because Fraser dies.
Sorry?
Spoilers.
What is that?
I'd say Crusher wins because Fraser dies.
But
Spoilers.
But you feel a lot when Frasier dies. I don't know if you'd feel quite as
Oh,
much
absolutely.
when.
Oh yeah, that was an impactful episode. Yeah.
It really was, and that character actor to come in as well was
Yeah.
was big. Scotty versus Beckett. Well, again, Beckett had way more screen time, but Scotty has a funner character, but Beckett is way more relatable. I mean, I've met the guy; he's very, very nice.
Yeah.
A good Scottish accent too.
Oh my goodness. Who is better, one season replacement, Pulaski or Jonas? Jonas. I like Jonas. I don't know what the problem was.
Well, it's a retro. It's a you had to be there thing because Daniel's a better character, and you like him. But I mean, the guy is lovely, and you know he did good with what he was given. It's just season 6 is a more vanilla season than 5.
And I was in jail with Jonas, man.
Yes, you.
At London Comic-Con.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Because he's a nice, like, fans didn't really respond too well to me, but I mean, I had fun, and no one disliked him, right? But it's a hard reset, right? And they literally played it, unfortunately, as a replacement.
Yeah.
It feels that way. Pulaski was, I mean, Crusher was sort of half there, and then Pulaski was there. But Daniel, you're like, he's the family, and then you killed your family. You know, Daniel died. Right? It was harsh, and it was sad. And Daniel died to save Jonas. So, kind of built to hate him. Because if Jonas hadn't lied, Daniel wouldn't have died. I mean, talk about starting, right? Oi.
Rodney versus Torres. Rodney.
I like
Torres.
Torres.
To deal with. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Rodney's so relatable.
He's Canadian too. We'd get along well. Even though he's an asshole.
He's allergic to lemons.
At least it's not maple syrup.
Yeah. Well, and also Rodney is also the MVP of that show because my dad always says this, that it is not bravery for someone who's already brave to walk into combat and do it. It's not brave for Shepard to go in and firefight and see the odds. It's brave for someone who's actually scared and still does it. Rodney is scared of everything. He doesn't want to do it because it might hurt him. He does it anyway. That's bravery. He's way braver than Shepard.
Because he knows he has to. It's his responsibility. Yeah.
Way braver.
Mako versus an Stargate team. Better weapons on the Mako, I would think.
Well, also, I feel like you wouldn't see Carter doing that backflippy trick like Black Widow does that the Makos can do sometimes. So they're better trained, I think. Yeah.
Ronan Fahey, member for 9 months at the Rink of Leech.
Long time. Thank you.
Beckett guy auditioned for JJ versus Scotty. Always thought he would have been infinitely better than Simon Pegg. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he's auditioned for Scotty. That's cool.
Well, it was right as Atlantis was finishing, and he played a Scottish, lovable guy for years. I mean, he would have been a great Scotty. That's why they liked him so much, because he's just likable. That he's in 09 as a shuttle tour guide, basically. He gets he's the guy that that they say, oh look, Kirk is injured. He's got the mumps. Take him to the ship. He's the guy they talk to.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. But he's an American accent, so he's doesn't sound like himself. Crazy.
Kirk versus O'Neill.
Well, which Kirk? As well, like movies Kirk, TV show Kirk, because they're actually different people anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, O'Neill had how much more screen time than Kirk's? Any Kirk's, all Kirk's put together. Not really comparable.
Yeah.
I just gotta back it 1 second.
Okay. 86 likes, which is really good. Thank you guys. I wouldn't mind another 14 likes so to get to 100 likes. It'd be awesome to get 100 likes on this live. Super chats. they're coming in fairly steadily. So thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate those and really need those. So if you can help us in any way with those, please do so. Another 20 would actually be a fantastic way to kind of end out here. But yeah, if you can support us via Super Chat, we'd really appreciate that. It's really kind of needed at the moment, honestly. But there's only one James R. Kirk. Yes, Matt Deckard. Not scrawny vegetarian Kirk. Who's that? Is that the new Paul Wesley guy from Strange New Worlds? Christopher Doohan was in Trek 2009 and was Scotty in Star Trek Continues. I think Christopher could have been the best JJ Trek Scotty. Yeah, but he's not a professional actor. Like in the fan films, it's fine. But I don't think he could have necessarily carried a role like that, especially over multiple movies. Oh, sorry. Michael's Asylum just said Christopher Doohan was in Trek 2009 and was Scotty in Star Trek Continues. I think Christopher would have been the best JJ Trek Scotty. He's not a professional actor though. Like in fan films, like I said, he does fine impersonating his dad. I don't think he could necessarily work movie-wise.
Also, we've interviewed him, and he said he wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah.
We had this conversation. Everyone has a conversation with him.
Yes.
He's good, but he's not that good.
Yeah. I guess you can't get transporter psychosis from a Stargate. No, it's not.
No? Well, because a transporter came from a different place. It came from moving cargo and then people. But, you know, a Stargate is designed by a hyper-advanced race to move everybody everywhere at any point across the universe, across galaxies. I mean, it needs to be usable a billion times. They already had the kinks worked out 10,000 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, through the course of the show, we see 4 generations of Stargates. Ones that date back thousands of years, 500,000 years.
Yeah.
It's old tech. Really, really old tech. Which is great.
Yeah. Rowan throws in 20 euros and says, for all the back catalog content. Thank you so much. Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah.
Got a lot of content to watch, so go check it out.
Just a bit. Thank you. That was really helpful.
I'll be right back.
Really good. Yeah, can't Stargate transporter, yeah. What else with Stargates? Yeah, I mean, it's just all about how much power you put into them, isn't it, with a Stargate? Whereas, you know, trans-warp beaming, that's important, but a Stargate can take you across the universe. Terrence. Supergate, that is true. You can't beam a fleet. Yeah, can you beam ships? Yeah, Void one. Side effect being caught. Well, yeah. So Treybone, they say that at the very start of the Stargate, there's a drift element that's basically the Stargate's misaligned, and they work out over the first few episodes how to undo that, and so therefore they can do it without ill effect. It just hadn't refined the process, but they talk about that, right? They wouldn't want that every time in SG1. That'd be silly.
Patrick, 11 euros. What do we think about Eli versus Wesley? And Dr. Weir versus Janeway? Love the viewpoints of everyone participating here. Yeah, we love this discussion.
Well, you haven't seen Universe, so
yeah,
you'd be hard pressed to answer that. But I feel like you'd say Eli either way.
Yeah,
don't know Wesley.
I really can't answer it, so yeah.
Yeah, Eli's a much better character in general. Weir versus Janeway, I like Weir a lot. I like the actress a lot. I've met her many times, and she knows who I am. We've talked. I really like her. She's a person. She's a human. Janeway's a captain. She's chiseled by her time as going through Starfleet. We're a civilian who's personable in a way that Janeway just isn't. She's close sometimes, but Weir's a better person, Janeway's a better leader, but she's been trained to be a leader for 30, 40 years. Weir's a political, like, analyst, right?
Yeah.
She's a negotiator. She's not a... she honestly did better than she should have, or should have, because she's not meant to be that, you know?
I like Dan Ben's question. Can you beam through an active Stargate? You need a transporter lock on the other side, so I don't know if you necessarily could. You could beam into the threshold of a Stargate, and then it would take you the rest of the way, maybe. I don't think you could lock onto the coordinates on the other side of a Stargate. Well, that's a tricky question, actually.
Well, so matter goes one way through a wormhole. You can't beam because a wormhole's only one way. You can't beam back through. You can beam through a Stargate because that's the way matter's traveling.
That's what he's asking.
Yeah.
But can you get a lock on to the coordinates on the other side of that thing? That's the question. I think you can beam them into the threshold of it and have it carry them the rest of the way. But I don't think you could necessarily lock onto the coordinates on the other side of a gate. It's a very tough question. I think.
Like, I'm sure the ancients could, right? Like, those that made it probably could. I feel like that's one question of, could you ring transport through a gate? Which they have tried. Or Asgard beam. I feel like you could beam and then reappear on the edge of the other gate, but you couldn't control where. Like, it would be right out. Because they do send matter through, but then you could connect to another system on the other side, so you could beam into a buffer onto the other side, and that beam you down. So I guess technically speaking, if there was two-way, because you can send data both ways through a Stargate, otherwise you can't receive through a MALP. That's data's two-way, but people aren't. Like, physical matter is one way. So yes, you could connect to a server on another planet and beam through that into that buffer and then beam out. So yes, you could, but it'd be a two-way system. There you go.
Problem solved.
But I love that limitation personally, that you can't two-way through a gate. It adds that wonderful nature of if you gate into a planet, they're stuck. Or if the enemy gates in, like, that's it. Retreat is closed in, and now you can be attacked from that side. I love it. It's so simple.
That's always the scary thing for me. Like, would we go into through the gate and not having the control mechanism on the other side? What the hell is it called?
DHD.
Yes, that's it. Not having that active, and that's happened a few times to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that would terrify me, just being stuck on another planet like that.
I mean, luckily Chilk's real strong, but yeah, I mean, the beautiful simplicity of, oh no. Oh no. And what was so easy 5 seconds ago. Yeah. Really tricky.
There were so many times that was just so frustrating where they couldn't open the gate for whatever reason, or they couldn't get to the thing. And it's like, just the frustration gets to me.
But it doesn't happen that much. It's not always the conceit, right?
Yeah.
They're a bit clever in that.
Ooh, Malp versus Tricorder. That's to say Tricorder.
I would agree. I would agree. That's not the hardest of fights right there.
No. Sorry, I'm dying here. Somebody asked earlier, Wraith or the Dominion versus the Dominion. I'd say the Wraith. That's my call.
I mean, super different.
Yes. Yeah.
Oy. Well, but if you include Dominion, you're doing all three, right? As Wraith, they're all men and then the women. There's not too much. I mean, one-on-one, a Jem'Hadar, I think, could get beaten to shreds by Wraith.
Yeah.
Or, well, no, get eaten. I mean, it's not even that, right? It's just, you're dead. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, Wraith are fun because they're actually very, very simple. Really simple. The Wraith are just life vampires. That's it. They're a bit stronger, but you can still hand-to-hand fight with them. They can feed to live or feed to be strong. And I love that none of their guns kill. Because killing ain't useful to them.
Yeah.
So it's more scary. Because if you get hit, you're paralyzed, and they will come and get you. Yeah, horrible.
Ronan, Trip versus Michael.
Trip.
I have to say Michael.
Oh. Damn. I never liked Michael, really. He was good in the first two, but I thought his final few was a bit shit, personally.
I
Like, his death is just naff. I mean, they say he didn't really die. It's like, right. He fell off the tower, but okay.
Kedrusel would probably poison a wraith. I mean, that's just jumping to conclusion.
No, I think they could filter that. They might get addicted to it for a bit, but then they just have to feed more to cure themselves.
Yeah.
That's interesting though, but no, I think they could filter it. Because Kedrusel, well, Jem'Hadar were designed to need Kedrusel, so it's like, what would it do to anyone else, right? Who's to say anything?
Lord Locke says, Michael is true. But yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my throat's starting to go. Michael did a cosplay as Professor Hans Gruber in that episode. This has been fun. This first, and we hit 100 likes. Oh my god, that's awesome!
Way.
If you haven't hit like yet, hit like.
But Raj asks me, Samuel. Hello. I was talking to my friends. Sorry. We were wondering, do you think the 304s, before the Asgard core is introduced, uses Mark 1 or 2's Nacro generator to power the ship or something else? Ooh. As you know, Stuart, the Nacro Mark 2's are overload devices they maintain. I would say it probably has... They probably have had like 4 or 5 Mark 1's combined in a network, and then more able to be turned on. Because you can power a Stargate with Mark 1. So it's a lot of power. And the only two things in the X-2 that actually took lots of power was hyperdrive and shields. But the rest of it's just light bulbs and, light bulbs. There isn't too much else. I think there'd probably be some Mark 2s aboard, but the instability of them would be not worth the risk. That said, it'd be fun to see what sort of power increase it could give them, given that they powered... What do they power the Mark 2? Do they power the shield with Mark 2? No, the drone share. So they've got a lot more juice. It'd be fun to see... Because the thing about the X-304, Stuart, is that its drive is based on how much power you can throw at it. You ZPM that bitch, it can go across the galaxy. So Mark 2, you'd think, if they ever need a boost, risk it, you can supercharge. Why wouldn't you have Mark 2s aboard? They're not that big.
Yeah. Gorgonzola86 says, Trekyards, Samuel, have you read my email from about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, no. I was trying to find that as a... Find out who was saying that.
Maybe resend it and we'll check it out.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, can you give me... What was it called? What was the subject line? I can search it. Oh, shush, Michael. We know. Yes, they're all X304s. But, habits die hard. Yeah, what was your favourite X304, Stuart? Come on, Stuart, you're a ship guy.
I am, but I don't have an answer for your question, so stop asking me.
Guys, which is your favourite X304? The Daedalus, the Apollo, the Odyssey, the... what was the Russian one called? I was going to say Zheng He, but that's not the right show. The Korolev, or the... Oh, there is a Chinese one in the alternate universe. I mentioned it once. I can't remember the name of. I'm always a Daedalus man. I like the Daedalus. I mean, the Odyssey is great because it's actually quite a lot. There you go. Thank you. Good job. Like, I like the Odyssey because, spoilers, it gets a cloaking device by the end. Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how they did that, Stuart?
Nope.
It's great. They get a cloak because Daniel does this. That's it. Because he's a prior at the time, so he's able to reroute stuff and give it a cloaking device. Because priors are very... Priors know shit.
Yeah.
And that's it. I love it. There's a great shot where... And yeah, I found the email. Thanks for the tagline. I love it. Because when we were building our mothership for my films, it was always a case of... this. It was the same 3D model basically for season 5 onwards. But most of the time it was in mid-distance, so you couldn't tell the details. But in that episode, there's a phenomenal shot where the Odyssey is cloaked, so it's literally next to it, like this close. So there's a shot outside the window, which is that close, and so you can see the texture detail beautifully well. It was also done in actual HD, because seasons 7 to 10 were. And I have a HD version, so it's like, oh wow, the details. But because that was unusual for the show, they like doubled the bump mapping, which is how deep and thick the plates looked. So it's really obnoxiously like bold. But by doing so, you can actually see the plates better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun double-edged sword. That's one of like the most bestest things to show.
Cool. Well, guys.
Oh my god.
We're at the 2-hour mark. I feel this is something we could probably revisit at some point. And just start off doing verses and talking about that kind of stuff.
Because they're both really good shows. Or franchises. But I think fundamentally Stargate is far more relatable. I think the hit to miss ratio is generally higher. It doesn't suffer from the first season ain't so good. They're all good. I think the characters are all better formed from the get-go. Like, you get who McKay is, or Shepard is from season 1. You don't really get... Like, B'Elanna's not really B'Elanna yet until later. They are a slow cook. Stargates really are like a... They pressure cooked in the movie, and they zip right out with a tasty meal, and it only gets better from there. And the genuine build from 4 guys and gals on a planet with guns to we have a space city, a fleet of starships, and we've killed over half the baddies in the galaxy. Literally.
No one on Earth knows about it.
Yeah, the Galaxy Show knows though. We kill so many baddies that crime syndicates have to replace them for the power vacuum. So make crime syndicates. Oh dear. Yeah, yeah, and also it's more serialized and there's a bigger payoff. I think overall, Stuart, SG1 is better than TNG as an overall metric.
We're just talking TNG or all Star Trek?
Just TNG.
Okay. Sure. I'll agree with that. Put some good points forward. However, Star Trek is Star Trek and it's still better.
Well, it benefits from having 700 episodes and 14 movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
So guys,
that's probably...
final super chat, your thought. Put in $2 and what wins, Star Trek or Stargate? Blast fire if you can. A couple of 5-square 2s. Let us know your thoughts.
Fire
These last
away.
like 2 minutes. It's a challenge, Stuart. What do we used to call it? Super chat strike? What's it called?
Last super chat strike. I don't know. I forget.
It's called He Forgets.
Snipe in. Last super chat snipe, I guess. Final thought. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. Say something profound with the super chat. Or just let us know which is better. Zachary says next TNG versus BSG. Well, it won't be. It's not TNG. It's always Star Trek as a whole versus. But yes, BSG is one that might be coming up that we're talking about. Sergeant Roadkill, 2 pounds. 2 pounds for SG2.
Okay. They get killed once, don't they?
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing I like about Stargate is that there's so few spaceships that each one's really distinct.
Mm.
That there isn't really, even if there's a ship of the week, it's like, oh my god, there's a spaceship! Because there's a spaceship race. Every single one, for the most part, is memorable and very different design. And I'm shocked that they get continuous home runs of ship design. For me, anyway, right? Like, even Prometheus, it's a home run, and it looks a bit dopey. Like, we could build that, right? We could make that today, and it works just about. And then, the Daedalus is then a big refinement of that, right? And then the Mothership is really cool, and Alkesh is cool, and Deathglide is cool, and a Teltac is really cool, and a Pole Jumper is so obvious, right? Crazy.
Star Trek versus the Earth. Can't do that one.
But final vote score is, with 140 votes, I asked, would you class SG1 as an amazing show, good show, okay, or I don't like, and a smashing success? 64% say an amazing show, with 22% say good show, 9% okay show, and 5% I don't like it. And that is a direct tiered measurement, so I call it a great success.
And everybody that's watching, if you're interested in Star Trek games, Star Trek Resurgence, I'll just do my first playthrough tonight.
Ooh.
So it's a really good story. It's kind of like watching a really great movie. And you get to do a lot of technical stuff, which I think is fantastic.
So you're going to restart a fresh game to do on live? Ooh.
Yep. I'm almost finished. I haven't finished my other game, but I'm like probably very near the end because I've been playing for a long time.
All right.
But I'm going to make different choices and see how it plays out.
There's definitely, even the few hours I've played, there's definitely the dickhead options.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't say, but if you're going to go and do them, there's a few good ones.
Yeah. So tune in tonight, probably about 10 Eastern Standard Time. For
Guys,
that.
actually Star Trek gaming. That's cool. So you're gonna be. So that's, no, there's only PS5. So you're how you doing that? Because you can't see your face then, or how's it gonna be?
No, I can't. You won't see my face. It'll just be pure gameplay.
Okay, because also
you can hear me talking though. Like you can still engage with me.
So on the PC, you could have done screen and then little picture, and you could have done.
Yeah. Well, the PS4 I could too because it has a camera, but the PS5 doesn't have the setup.
But it was better, Stuart, in every way, right?
Well, actually, the PS5 is kind of growing on me.
Okay. You did not sink to my bait.
No.
Dear me.
Patrick. €2. €2.
2 coughs.
I can't decide. I'll take both. There you go.
Both is good.
All right, guys. We will talk to you tomorrow. We'll have a live, and then, like I said, I'll be doing one tonight. So come back for those. Do it. So until next time, he is Commander Calkins.
He is Kenneth Foley.
Star Trek wins.
This time.